And you were 17 when you started.
16.
16. You were 16.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. So you literally had no money into this deal at all. Not even earnest money.
Zero.
No marketing dollars, no, just your time, but no marketing dollars into lead gen, no earnest money that you're funding and floating, nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe Donnell, start with just a brief background on you. Tell us when you got started, what that process was like from learning to taking action. And then let's get into what you did to get this first deal.
Okay. So, I played basketball my whole life, and I got injured last year, February of 2024. And my brother told me about wholesale real estate. He was like, you could do it. I said, I'm underage. He said, you could do it at 17, 16. And that's when I studied it. I studied it until summer, and I've been doing it ever since then. June 2024, that's when I started. And I've been doing it ever since then.
And you were 17 when you started?
16.
16. You were 16.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. Fantastic.
Yes,
17 now then.
Yeah, I turned 18 actually next week.
Okay. But you did this first deal while you were 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is so fun. I love it. Man, it really goes to show, right? Like it's not rocket science. It's just putting in the work and doing the steps. So that's great.
Yeah.
Now, okay. So you said June of 2024. So as of this recording, about a year ago is when you got started? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were learning. You said, okay, I think I got enough here. Time to pick up the phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what market did you do this in?
Florida only. I stayed in Florida, but I was in a lot of markets because my brother actually told me he did like all of Florida. So I just did all of Florida also. I stayed away from South Florida because it's very, different down there, and the markets aren't really competitive. So I just stayed on the panhandle, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, and then you just started calling agents.
Yeah.
All right. And how many calls do you think you made before that first deal?
Well, man, I don't even know because I started a year ago. So I just got my first deal. So maybe it's got to be over 1,000 for a year.
Wow. Do you guys hear that? So you called for a year calling agents, making offers.
Mm-hmm.
Year. And you didn't think this doesn't work, I'm out? Like, did that cross your mind? Did you pause during any of that time? Did you get discouraged at all? That's a lot of work.
Yeah, so I've gone through a lot of contracts, but I never got it to the closing table.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I took some breaks in between because I would kind of get discouraged of deals just falling out. I mean, I literally had a deal in January that the listing agent called me the day before closing, and I missed out on $10,000. So I did get discouraged a few times, but I knew I'd always get back into it because this was my only way that I knew. So I just kept going.
Yeah. Sounds like you took some of that athlete in you where you learned, hard work, stick to itiveness, pay the price.
Yeah.
And that translated over. Did sports translate over into this?
It definitely did for sure, because in basketball, you're just doing something every day. Every day you're in the gym, every day you're trying to work towards a goal. And this is basically what it is, just consistency.
Yeah. I found the same thing. I was, very active in sports in high school, did football and wrestling and baseball. I had all the things, like I just couldn't do enough sports and loved it so much. And felt like that work ethic I learned definitely translated over into real estate. So, and then what happened here with this deal that ended up getting to the finish line? How did you meet this agent? Was it a random call on a listed property? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically it was just a random call, just another day calling agents. And I called this agent. I wanted to we talked about the property a little bit, and I just put in an offer. And basically later on that day, he called me back and he said the seller wants to accept. So from then we locked it up at 95. And
what was it listed for?
It was listed for 180.
180. You guys catch this? 180 on the list. You get it for 95. Now,
Yes, sir.
the reason why I love this so much is because I wish that exact thing happened every day. It doesn't happen every day. But if you're consistent enough and you're in the right place at the right time, that does happen. Like that actually is more normal than you guys think. 180. I mean, you're getting it for pretty much half of list price. And so I have a rule here, Donnell, and I talk about this often, which is never discriminate an offer based on list price, meaning don't even pay attention to that.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to. Like you look at it and you're like, man, I'm about to make a lowball offer here. I feel uncomfortable doing this. Maybe they're offended if I say this number, but you got to get through that. Just make the offer and let it all play out,
Yeah.
because there's going to come a time like this example where it works, where the stars align, you're in the right place at the right time. How was that? Like, what did they say when you said, okay, here's my offer of 95 and it's listed at 180? What did the agent say to that?
Well, he honestly didn't really say anything about it. Honestly, I just made the offer because usually what I do, I'll get on the phone. I probably won't make the offer then because I'll send an email out in about like 20 minutes, and he just called me back and he the seller accepted. So didn't really say nothing about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you?
Not really, because I'm on the market and all of these properties are always listed so high.
Too
So
high.
I'm usually making an offer like that almost every day.
Yeah, half of what they're asking usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy how far off a lot of these listed properties are,
Hmm.
which in a way is sort of, to me, it's sort of a blessing in disguise because if it was priced more aggressively, there'd be a lot more action on it. So what happens is most investors are like 180, they're out of their mind, and then they just move on and they don't take the extra step and make the offer.
Yeah,
Whereas if you do, things like this will happen. It'll happen and it'll happen more often than you think.
yeah,
So that's another reason why, like, it's okay. They may tell you to, go jump off a cliff. It's fine. Move on, do another one. Right. But in this case, it all worked out. So they accepted. Did they counter or did they just take your offer?
no counter. Just
No counter.
accepted
Yeah.
it. No counter.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that
I
awesome?
do. Yeah, I guess she was pretty motivated.
Definitely. So that's
Yeah.
it. And that's what happens sometimes. So you contract at 95. Okay. And how did you handle like earnest money, proof of funds? Did any of that come up?
Yeah. So the earnest money, usually in my terms, I'll put 7 day the earnest money to be paid in 7 days so the end buyer could pay it. And that's usually what I do. And then the end buyer will just come in and pay the earnest money for me. But now that I have some money, I'll probably put, non-refundable. If I know the deal is pretty good, I'll probably put some refundable money up myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool strategy, guys. Did you catch that? Not all agents will go for this. Definitely in a situation like this where there's high motivation, they're pretty much giving you everything you want. So what Donnell did is he said, okay, I'm going to have a 7-day inspection and my earnest money is due at the end of the 7 days. That buys you 7 days window of time. And then what Donnell did is he went out and he dispoed, found his buyer, and he got the cash buyer to put down the earnest money, which met your earnest money to, need.
Yeah.
And then you didn't actually have to do any earnest money.
Yeah.
I love that technique. Now, it doesn't always work, because a
Mhm.
lot of times they're going to say, "No, I want the earnest money right now." But it's not uncommon, and it's definitely something that you can work is worth attempting to do. So, love that worked out that way for you as well. So you literally had no money into this deal at all, not even earnest
Yeah.
money, no
Zero.
marketing dollars, no just your time, but no
Yeah.
marketing dollars into lead gen, no earnest money that you're funding and floating, nothing.
Yeah.
So then let's go to Dispo. So tell us how you found your buyer.
So in the area, I just called in the area and on properties that looked like a remodel or properties that I seen that were just messed up. I just went in the area, called the agents, and I came across one agent. She was actually an agent and a buyer herself. So she bought the property, even though she was an agent. She was an investor herself, and she bought it.
Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
How many of those flippers do you think you called to find that one?
I didn't call too many because the area is kind of like rural and not too much going on. I did call maybe less than 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that doing that technique, it usually takes about 12 to 15 to find a buyer. So
Yeah.
let's walk it through if you guys aren't familiar with what he did here. What he did is once he contracted his deal, then what he did is he said, okay, I'm going to look for active flippers in that neighborhood. And the way you find those active flippers in that neighborhood is it's really easy. You just go on to Zillow or Redfin. You can do it on PropWire, really good. But what you're looking for is you're looking for renovated home. There's three ways you do this. You can look for sold renovated homes. That would be a flipper who bought a home, fixed it up, and sold it, and it's in your neighborhood. Okay. So then you can see that because it's renovated, it's vacant, maybe it's staged, it's sold for the highest price. So you know that that was a flipper. And then what you do is you call that agent, you say to the agent, hey, I got one around the corner. See if your investor is interested in another flip. And the idea here is that flippers love to do deals in repeat markets where they already do deals, right? Like every flipper loves to flip another house where they already did one because they have connections, they have an agent, they have contractors, they understand value really well. So they're great buyers. So one way is with sold flipped homes. You could go to active homes, so homes that are on the market that haven't sold yet, that are flips, also renovated. And the idea there is, hey, looks like your investor's done with that one. Are they ready for another one? Or like what you did is I go to the other end and I go to the lowest sold homes that are distressed. And the idea there is, hey, that was an investor. They bought a beat up home. Maybe they're fixing it up as we speak. And maybe they're thinking about their next deal. So that's another way to look for a flipper. But either way, whether it's a sold, flipped, active flip, or a distressed property that's sold at the lowest price point, your goal here is you're finding active flippers in the same neighborhood with no buyer list. You don't even need a buyer list. You just find who's doing stuff right now in that neighborhood, reach out to the agent that represents them, and then that agent will bring them to you if they're interested. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you have to compensate that agent who brought the buyer?
I was gonna compensate her if she brought a buyer, but I told her since she's buying it
He's the
herself, I
buyer.
won't pay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so great. Yeah, that's right. She was the buyer, so
Yeah.
there's no need to pay a commission. You had the contract at 95, and then what did you contract with them at?
So initially I contracted with them at 111. And so it was a 16K spread. She signed the assignment contract. It was a 16K spread. And then because I initially didn't send her the original contract that we signed with the seller. So when she seen that I was paying realtor commissions, so I had to come out my assignment fee and pay realtor commissions. So it came out to 12,000. So
Okay, so
yeah,
you agreed to with the seller, with the agent on the buy side, is you agreed to pay their commission.
yeah, I agreed to pay the realtor commission
Yeah.
at
Okay,
3%.
which is normal, guys. Like that's you have to have that conversation as well.
Yeah, and I also paid this 600 fee. It was like a doc stamp that I also agreed to pay. It was only 600 and it was my first deal, so I didn't really care. So I just paid it.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't
Yeah.
going to argue about it.
Yeah.
So you walked out of there with about 12 grand, right? On
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 12,400.
As a 17-year-old,
Yes, sir.
first deal. Now, Donnell, I hope you took a picture of you holding that check. And if you did, I want you to frame that because I'm not kidding. I wish I did that on my first deal because this is a pivotal moment in your life. Because of now, the trajectory of your life is going to be significantly different probably than what it was. I mean, you are now on a path that's going to take you places that will be life changing. I mean, generational, honestly,
Mhm.
because now you've got a stepping stone, you've got a foundation to build on. And it's now time to take that first deal. And now the next thing for you is how do I do this every single month? Not once or twice, but how do I do it 3 times, 5 times a month? And that's your next focus. And then while you're doing that, the real focus is how do I build a team? How do I build systems? How do I build processes? How do I reinvest into education, into tools, into marketing? How do you build a business now? And that's a daunting thought, I would think, for a 17-year-old, almost 18-year-old. But Donnell, you are on a path that the rest of us I mean, think about it. You've got guys here. I'm 48. We got people here older than that are trying to learn what you're doing right now. I mean, you're light years ahead of everyone else your age, probably most people your age. I didn't even touch my first deal till I was 28. You know, I fumbled through. I wanted something. I was like you. I was hungry. I was looking. I was trying. I had a work ethic. I just didn't have the blueprint. You know, there was no Flipping Mastery YouTube channel, or everything was behind a paywall. Like, you couldn't get access to how to do this. It was kind of an unknown secret at the time, 20 years ago. And you now have the tools and the resources and the work ethic. There's nothing stopping you, Donnell, from doing 100 grand a month in this business as an 18-year-old. Nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
You have everything it takes to do it.
Yes, sir.
And that's where you need to be, where you want to be, and where I want you to be. I want to talk to you in a year from now, and you're doing 5 deals a month, right? Like, you've got what it takes.
Appreciate that.
That's exciting.
Yes, sir.